Hi, I'm Aubree. I am an inventor, and I come from a long line of inventors, including my dad. Um, and I am here to tell you a little bit more about being an inventor because it's kind of fun. So, I love products. I love using them. I love inventing them. I love making them. I love dreaming about them. I feel like dreaming about products is the most fun part. It's fun to brainstorm. We have this thing called a fishbowl where we say if a product isn't something we're building right now, we say, I'll put it in the fishbowl. And I love having a good fishbowl rolling at all times of life. So I have a couple of questions that I was going to talk through with y'all, if that is okay. So first one is, what does it mean to think like an inventor? So it's funny because I grew up with my dad who, like, I always likened to like Beauty and the Beast, except for he builds like real products, not like wood choppers. But I loved having a dad for an inventor because I feel like it gave me a really unique perspective on how to look at the world, how to look at things, things that are very like common and normal. How could we do them different? And I think it kind of allows me to look for white space, like areas in life that maybe could be improved upon or something different could happen. And I think his perspective applied to a lot of areas, not just to products. It applied to like the way I think about life and the world, and I really appreciate it. And it's fun. I don't know, it just kind of adds a little bit of fun to life and to thinking. So what does it mean to think like an inventor? I feel like it's to be open-minded but have core values, because there is so much out there in the world that you could think on and dream on, and it's like never ending. So I was raised with really strong values, and I think coming back to those values when thinking about products, when thinking about business, when thinking about life, when thinking about my home helps. So I have really strong faith. I believe in God, and my dad always told me, like, if he wasn't around, the Bible is the best thing he could have left me, and I appreciate that. So he is still around, thank you, but I think we're very thankful for that. But I think having a strong foundation as an inventor is important, and I also think like I said, having an open mind, but then knowing your own values. So you can have an open mind to thoughts, to things, to products, to ideas without changing who you are, because every person has their own soul. We talked about that in church today, and I loved it. It was great. I actually had a class, this is a tangent, but I had a class in college under a professor named Dallas Willard, and it was called the Mind-Body Connection. And one of the things I loved most about him was that he was like a very well-respected Christian writer, but he was teaching, I went to USC, which is not a Christian school. So he was teaching a class in a very non-Christian space, and he had great things to talk about. And I just love the way that he was able to like have his own beliefs. Oh, shoe fly, no thank you. We had our doors open today, and that's what happens. But he had his own beliefs, but then he was teaching someplace that had very different beliefs than him, and I loved it. So, and today in church, they actually mentioned a quote from Dallas Willard, and it made me very happy. And this is not the quote, but one thing that he taught that I always remembered is he said, we're going deep here, it's not what I was intending, but he said, you have a body, you are a soul. You don't have a soul, you are a soul. And I just love that. And I feel like as an inventor, like, sticking to your soul, and as everything in life, as a mom, as a wife, as a business person, sticking to your soul while being open to what's around you, I think is important, because people can have different values, different opinions, different thoughts. But when you're being inventive, it's important to be open to those and then to come back to what your core is. So it's more like a life lesson than what an inventor is. And thinking like an inventor practically, one thing I've always done is, like, my dad taught me, basically, if you have a new idea, test that idea, see what other people think, get it out there, and do it with like as little cost as possible. So if you have an idea and you're an inventor, or you want to think like an inventor, think small to start, to do like a proof of concept. And I think that is very valuable lesson, and can save a lot of people a lot of money, because it could be a great idea. You could put it out there and nobody could resonate with it, even though it was a great idea and it worked with your life. So small proof of concept is great. Like a way that we did this, I invented the metal garden hose, and we have been working with QVC for years. And my dad and I sat down with the buyer, and she said, we were selling them at the time. We brought the first fabric hose into the market with QVC. And she said, I love your compact garden hose, but it pops. It's a fabric hose, all fabric in the garden. If it touches a rose bush, it's gonna pop. And so it took us like 2 years. We thought on it, and one day I was like, Dad, what if we made it out of metal? I was like standing in the shower, and there's that like shower hose. It's a hose, it's a shower hose. And I was like, Dad, what if we made it out of metal? And he literally is like, you can't make a hose out of metal. He's like, I mean, sure, but he's like, it'd be too heavy, it'd be too expensive, it'd be too this. There's all these things. And he's the most open-minded person ever. So I was kind of surprised that he didn't like jump at it. But what's crazy is that was probably 10 years ago, and it's like our #1 selling product. There are so many knockoffs, which blows my mind. Like if you Google or go on Amazon and look up metal garden hose or stainless steel garden hose, because we trademarked metal garden hose, so technically people aren't supposed to use that, but they do. But there's so many of them, and like that one came from my idea that was spurred from a conversation 2 years prior, sitting at a table in our San Diego office, and now it's everywhere. So that is kind of just a little story of thinking like an inventor. Okay, next question is, what do inventors notice that others ignore? So I would say looking with fresh eyes in all spaces of your life. Like, I'm an inventor all the time. I'm not an inventor when I sit down at my desk. I'm an inventor like when I go to bed, which is kind of a problem. I have to try to stop so I can sleep and not just be thinking of things. But I'm an inventor when I'm using my shower hose and thinking it could be a garden hose. I'm an inventor which doesn't pop on rose thorns, by the way. So it's a compact hose that doesn't pop, and it's pretty. We make an unlacquered brass version. I don't know if you can see my waterworks faucet is like inspiration for our unlacquered brass garden hose, which is my personal favorite to use. But so inventors notice, what do they notice that others ignore? So the things that haven't been touched in a while. So like a very rudimentary way to say it is like the doorbell. So whomever came out with the Ring doorbell, the doorbell has been there for years and nobody's touched it. So something that just hasn't been touched. So also thinking about things with a lens of a different industry. So my favorite way to look at things, I personally love beauty. And so I love to look at things with a beauty perspective. So an example would be, we just launched, it's actually my first patent, which is very exciting. My dad like surprised me with it and said, hey, here's your patent. But we just launched a filtered garden hose nozzle. So if you've ever seen or used a filtered shower hose nozzle where it's filtering your water so that your hair is shiny, healthy, happy, we're doing the same thing for your plants. So it's a nozzle that if you use in your garden, you're watering your plants. My little kids go pick a carrot out of my garden, little carrots, because I'm like, I always say I'm a pro inventor, amateur gardener, but I'm trying. I grew these guys, I love them. And that grows on its own with no watering. But also, total tangent, I love trimming things from your yard and putting them in your house, no matter what is in your yard. I used to trim weeds and put them in my house. I think they're pretty. It's where you live, and they're free. And it's like a simple luxury that applies to your own space. Oh, I totally lost my tangent. Oh well. So, what do inventors notice that others ignore? Things that haven't been touched. Oh, things with a different lens. So the garden nozzle, we invent products in garden. I used a beauty industry mindset and applied it to the garden. And I think it like makes things more interesting that way. It also takes concepts that people already understand. So people understand a filtered shower head. But if that had launched 10 years ago, a filtered garden nozzle, people probably wouldn't get it. But there is an amount to being aware of what's going on around you in your space and whether or not it's going to apply. 2 more questions. Why do most products feel good enough instead of well designed? I love this one. Okay, it's because it takes so long to make a good product. Like, not exaggerating. And they're expensive. So we definitely err on the side of trying really hard, putting all of our love and our effort and like trying to do good work with what we're building and trying to put high quality materials in the product. So again, talking about a garden hose, but our metal garden hose is made of 304 stainless steel or unlacquered brass. My favorite. Nobody does that. But the stainless steel we use doesn't rust, where if you use cheap stainless steel, like 201, it will rust. And so there's care and quality into what we're building. And we built it. Like, we drew it on a napkin. We went to Home Depot and got shower hose pieces and strung them together. And like, someone in our office helped like construct it to make it work enough to test the concept. And once we knew it worked, then we went down the path a little farther. But yeah, it's because like why do most products feel good enough instead of well designed? It's because it takes a lot of time and a lot of care. And I think it's also sometimes products are designed by people that don't use them necessarily. So like I water my garden every single day. You got full disclosure, we sell fountains. I don't use the fountain every day. It's wonderfully designed, but that is not one that I personally like step into. I'll step in on like the designs and the branding and the naming, but like the fountain itself, it's just kind of not my area. My brother is actually really into fountains, which I love. But so when you love the products that you're inventing and the products you're designing, and there's something that you personally want, I think there's like a heart there that you just can't replicate if somebody says, oh, go make me a whatever it might be. So I think it's kind of cool in this age, like knowing who you're buying from is really fun, because then it's like you can hear, like I'm excited to tell you all about this because I love the darn hose that I invented. And you can't make that up. So I think that is a little bit of where things come from being well designed, is with intention. And then last is, when did you start questioning everyday products? Okay, like since I was little, which I love because like as a little kid, my dad always would like loop us into what he was working on or like ask our ideas. Or one of my favorites is, so he sold two favorites. He sold a garden hose, and it was a fabric garden hose. And I remember he at the time also sold car wash and car wax. We do lots of categories: car, home, beauty, hard goods, gardening, cleaning, all kinds of things. We're inventors by nature, not cleaning experts, inventors. So what you're getting is something unique and different and thoughtful in a space with fresh eyes. It's kind of where I love to play. And so as a little girl, I remember he had hydro wash, hydro wax, and he was making a garden hose. And I said, why do you call it hydro hose? And I was like little, and he listened. Like, how cool is that? So I was encouraged as a little kid to like participate, to brand, which I love branding. And then also another example too is like, this one we never actually made, but at the time he was in car products. And so I said, why do you make a hydro buffer? And as a little kid, I like sketched it up. I don't have my sketches right now, but I'll show you. I like still sketch. I sketch little beauty products and candles and things. But as a little girl, I like sketched up a hydro buffer. It was this like rubbery thing, and it had a handprint in it, and it was gonna vibrate. So when you put car wax on your car, you could like use the hydro buffer, and it would bzzz, like help buff your car. But I was so proud of my little sketch, and when I brought it to my dad, I had to have been like 10. I don't know, not that old. He like looked at it and he thought it was a good idea, and he like took it into his office and had someone prototype it for me. So excuse me. When did I start questioning everyday products? I feel like since I was little, it was just what I was taught to do. I loved it. It's fun. I still love it. But yeah, so a little bit more about being an inventor and figuring out like ways to make life feel good, like have soul to the things you're touching. Not soul, you got a soul in your soul, but have like heart to the things you're touching, like what's coming into your home, into your space, what you're using every day to water your garden matters. You're interacting with it every day. So if you have the opportunity to be thoughtful about what that thing is you're touching, it feels good and it's fun. So it's fun to be an inventor. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited. I'll talk to you more soon. I do a little Substack too, so I'll do a little bit more on Substack, kind of more thoughts, and maybe share some pictures of my little sketches and stuff. But I appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to y'all next week. Bye.